Hi everyone, it is Ghana 2021 and we have a lot to share with you. First thing first, my name is Denisha
My name is Anthony.
and we wanted to share our trip to Ghana 2021 with you all, which this month is June. We previously visited Ghana for our first time in 2018 and we absolutely loved it then and we love it now. However, we want to share with some of you that may be a little leery of the unknown as you prepare or want to prepare in the future to travel to Ghana. To start, I want to say that our booking this time around was an
Horrible.
inimaginable experience. This time around, we booked through ASAP.
Never
And
go with ASAP.
we've never booked through
Tickets.
ASAP before. We've always booked through Fairboom or straight through Delta. This time we wanted to give ASAP a try because we're always receiving emails from them. I guess our information is purchased online, how often we travel or whatnot. But as we booked through ASAP, we started out with our own rep, and his name was Lotar.
Yes.
We booked through ASAP. At the end of our booking, before we could close out, we noticed that we had to tip Lotar.
It was suggested that we offer a tip. Now, mind you, dealing with this particular company, ASAP, it is a foreign-based entity. So when you call the different agents or they reach out and contact you, you will find out that when you listen to the background noise, you will find out that most of all of them are foreign-based. And so as an American, you know how difficult it could be with communication, with understanding, and how we do things in the West versus how they do things in their particular geographical area that they come from. So you're going to find it very difficult when you're dealing with ASAP. Now, one thing we want to definitely bring to your attention is that these people are out to get the money. No matter what you see online, they're offering you a package deal, but you understand that they are commission based. And so they are hard pressing you to make sure that they get the money from you. So your package can start out at one price and they will offer you all these other extra things that should already come with your package.
Correct.
So that's why even if you had to spend another $200, $300, $500 on your ticket, going straight through the airline company, your experience is going to be better. It's going to be a lot better.
Or Fairboom.
We had no issues with Fairboom
Smooth.
whatsoever when we booked that flight back in 2019.
19.
But we tried to do something different because we saw that ASAP had some competitive pricing going on. Never do it again.
Just for starters, our returning flight was first changed. It was changed for giving us a lesser 2 days in Ghana. And then our departure flight was changed once, and then it was changed a second time. The first time it was changed, we were able to change it with no problem through Lotar. He actually contacted us and said, hey, the flight is going to change, X, Y, and Z, and there was nothing extra because I think it was the day after we booked the initial flight. The dates had changed or whatnot. The flight had changed. And then we received a message later on that the flight had changed again. In that case, I contact United Airlines, which is our airlines for that particular flight, and I asked them, hey, can you guys change this flight for us, because at this time we were dealing with another representative at ASAP, which his name was Ifosa.
Never deal with this guy.
And
I'm telling you, it must have took me 45 minutes on the phone with him?
No, it's longer than that.
Okay, let's say over an hour,
Yeah.
dealing with him, going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me after we had already prepaid our money, this was months in advance, we had
Mm-hmm.
already booked our tickets with
Correct.
ASAP. He was telling me that there was another $275 that needed to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, since you guys changed it, it's a breach of contract. I didn't change it.
Correct.
You guys should pay for that
Correct.
as complimentary for changing my flight itinerary. He consistently told me that no, I would have to eat the cost. He also told me not to contact United, that United don't need to be bothered with all this trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so you are telling me, as big as United is as a company,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to contact them, and you want me to foot the bill? And he said, no, it's not United. It was a communication problem, but I really think that he wanted to make a commission bigger than what he probably already made on other people, but he wanted to make a big commission of $275. Now, it wasn't a big issue about the $275, but you'll understand when you're trying to travel, you want to make sure that you cut this fly. You want to make sure you cut all the costs, because sometimes coming to Africa, in any parts of Africa, you will have some type of hidden costs that you didn't know anything about, or you want to have more money to be able to do whatever you decide to do on the continent of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
In our particular case, Ghana. So we went back and forth, and I told him, I say, cancel my reservations. He told me at that point that, excuse me.
I will say this. In the beginning, he said that it is a cost that was given to them by United. And the cost was, I think it averaged out to be somewhere about $500. And that United required of us to pay that cost. But they were doing us a favor by only making us pay $275. That's no favor. Want to continue?
Yeah, as well as you realize that we had already paid for both of our tickets. Mm-hmm. That's a round trip. And so we had already spent maybe $2,600
yes.
already.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you come back later, you change our itinerary. This is the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get a second agent. Now also we reached out to Lotar, which was our first booking agent with ASAP. Silence.
We tried to call him. We tried to email him.
No calling.
He would not respond.
And we want to let you know that all of these people that works within ASAP, they understand their language on how they make money. So no one is gonna actually do the right thing to make sure the customer has satisfaction. Correct. Because they all are commission based. Correct. So we got no call from Lotar. And we thought he was actually an excellent guy the first time.
Right. We still haven't received a call.
No email, no nothing, no communication with us. Mm-hmm. So when he was so just letting you know that when you deal with these people, a third party, they are foreign based. They may be based in the US, but they are foreign based, meaning that most of the people are foreigners. Mm-hmm. They all have the same language. So we are telling you, so you don't have to go through this. Now, if you want to go through this because you see that it may be maybe $100 or $200, $300, $400 cheaper than dealing with the first party, you go right ahead and you're going to have the worst experience of your life. I'm telling you this.
Yes.
So the best thing is to take our advice and don't do it. So we never heard from Lotar again.
However, IFOSA is still contacting us via email and over the phone, and we're in Ghana. So he's still trying to get money. What my husband did not share with you was even after we had gotten off the phone with Lotar, and I told him, look, I have to go with what my husband says. He hung up with IFOSA. I'm sorry. My husband and him ended the phone call, and he called my phone and tried to get me to undermine my husband and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to book these tickets for the extra fee. And I told him, no, I had to go along with what my husband said. So even after all of that, he was still trying to call and trying to convince us all the way up until today. He's trying to convince us as though he's forgotten about when we were supposed to fly out. I don't know, but the solution in the whole matter of that particular issue was I ended up chatting with United Airlines, and I got a awesome representative through chat that told me that it would be of no extra charge to book that changing flight for us, although it still has us coming back 2 days sooner than what we wanted. But I really love the honesty. I really love the promptness of United Airlines, that particular agent, because they did it within what? 15 minutes. We were on chat. I explained everything to them. I let them know that ASAP was trying to get extra money. They said it was no fee of United Airlines because it wasn't our fault to
Now,
reschedule.
I also want to say this to you, to United, and hopefully this will get into the ears of the corporate office and some of the bigwigs that actually controls booking with United. What type of people are you dealing with when you allow your these third party people, such as ASAP, to deal with your customers? Because at the end of the day, United is going to be represented, and so you want to make sure that people like ASAP do not pose a threat to your customers, because at the end of the day, people will go to Delta, they will go to other flights because of this one bad experience. They're like, I'm not doing it again, even though it's not United's fault. What my wife is saying, it's not United's fault, but it's ASAP Tickets' fault. So you guys stay away from these people. And if you have had great experience with this with ASAP Tickets, don't think for once that you're going to get the same agent.
Correct.
And they're going to give you that same opportunity, because they are not. You realize that the COVID has hurt everybody.
Correct.
So these people are cutthroat now. So be careful. Even if you have to pay a lot more money on your ticket, it's better to have a great experience, especially when you're talking about traveling a whole day trying to get to the continent, the motherland, Africa.
One problem I did have with United was every time I tried to speak with someone after the fact. Actually, I'm moving ahead of myself. I'll slow down. Okay, so the third time, which was the final time, I tried to contact United. I was on hold literally for 2 hours and 30 minutes. At the same time, I was trying to chat with people. The first person I chatted with was Mary D. Please remember that name.
Whoever Mary D is,
Mary
maybe that's
D.
just a name that they go by.
And if it is a name that you go by, stay away. She basically, what I told her when we began the chat, I said, hey, we had our flight rescheduled and it is the day before we fly out. And I'm trying to understand why our flight was rescheduled. If we can get another flight for the same day and then, give us an earlier time, that would be great. And she told me that they couldn't do it. I said, well, I spoke with a representative 2 weeks ago wherein our flight was changed and we were unaware, and they were able to assist me. And she basically called me a liar. She said, no one here helped you. I said, well, you can't look in our records to see, where we've talked to someone. She said, no one here helped you and I can't help you. And she disconnected the chat. Okay, so whoever Mary D is, if United Airlines is watching this, you need to take her back through a customer service training, because she is poor at it.
Horrible.
She also referred me to contact ASAP to get this issue resolved. Let
me pause you for 1 second. I think that people like that on the chat need a cultural diversity training.
Correct.
To where you learn how to deal with the different races of people that are actually going to be channeled through your site or through the chat room or however. You need a person that could, and listen, we're telling you the truth. We have no reason to lie on anybody. We didn't get belligerent. We didn't get out of the way with anybody, because all we want is a perfect flight experience, because we've done this several times. And so we're not new at this. We're not doing this, and we're not the type of people that are easily offended.
Right.
But when we see something like this, and we want to warn other people, especially our own people, we want to warn you to not be taken advantage of. Now, I want to back up a little bit. Before we found out that when we were dealing with Ifasa, that he offered us two different
over something
new
we didn't do.
flight itineraries. And one was horrible. It would have us jumping from Jacksonville, Florida to
Orlando.
no, the one that we actually they actually landed us on because IFASA had changed it
Okay, it was Jacksonville to Houston
to Houston, Texas,
to Chicago
to Chicago, to Brussels,
and
then Accra. That if guys, look, if you never travel, please don't have that many connecting flights like that, because that is going to wear you out. You can lose your baggage. You can lose your baggage somewhere. It didn't happen to us, thank God. But we're just trying to encourage you and let you know, don't do it. But this guy, when we didn't go for his trying to scam us out of our money, he got offline with us, and he locked us in on an itinerary that was horrible. And we had expressed to him earlier when we were going through with him that we didn't want that itinerary, that is too long, that is too many joining flights like that. And because he couldn't get the money, he locked us in.
Correct.
He locked us in on that itinerary. So he got mad because he couldn't get a payday.
And we found that out, of course, when I spoke to a second representative through chat, that of which we were connected and then we were somehow disconnected. I think they were just overwhelmed on that day. However, the third representative informed me that she could get us an earlier flight with the same stops. However, it was departing at 6 a.m. that morning. But before I could book that with her, I ended up having to it somehow was disconnected. So but at the same time, no, it wasn't disconnected, it was buffering or something. And at the same time, the person that I was waiting to pick up on the other line actually picked up. So I was able to book the flight through the chat, but the person that I was on the other line with was able to confirm that it was booked, and we were able to get booked without even paying any extra money or anything like that. So that part went smoothly, which we loved, because like I said, it was the day before we were set to fly out, and we were scheduled to fly out at 1 p.m. the next day. We had to end up altering everything so that we can catch our 6 a.m. flight, which we had things scheduled, planned to do the next morning. We have children, we wanted to spend time with our children, but because we were forced to take this sooner flight, we were unable to do so. But everything turned out well. We boarded our flight from Jacksonville. We went to Houston. We had an hour and a half layover at Houston.
Also, I want to pause here for just a second. Now, because they IFASA, which is from ASAP Tickets, I want to keep saying that. They said that the flights kept changing. Our itinerary kept changing. Mind you, you have to take your coronavirus test 72 hours before flight. So if you have something that happen like this, your test may be expired.
Correct.
So you want to make sure that you don't take these third parties, because I think that these third parties are the one that's actually moving your flights around.
They are.
To accommodate themselves, or they have given your itinerary over to somebody else.
Well, here's the thing: is you have to take the COVID test within 72 hours of travel, and we found out that they don't actually go by the date that the test is administered, but they go by the date that you receive your results. However, that can be kind of limited on your time, so you want to make sure everything is okay. And that's what kind of put us in a panic when we first found out that our itinerary was changed at the last minute. The day before was we had already taken our COVID test. We took it on a Tuesday, and then we were scheduled to fly out on we were scheduled to fly out on what was it, that Friday. That Friday. Thank God we didn't get our results back until that Wednesday, but the problem is, if we would have arrived to the airport and our COVID test would have been out of date, then we would have been in trouble. And it's not the COVID test is not for the travel inside the states. It's for the travel outside the states. So we weren't checked for our COVID test leaving Jacksonville Airport. We would check for our COVID test leaving Chicago because the flight from Chicago was going to take us into Brussels. So that time frame had to line up, and we had to be within that 72 hours in order to board that flight to Brussels.
So to make a long story short, you definitely don't need to have a few joining flights within the U.S. if you are doing an international flight, because your test is going to be expired somewhere along the way.
Correct.
Thank God that we had grace and mercy on our side where we were able to be under the radar and be able to go through. Now, if your test is expired somehow, to do the rapid test at the airport can be anywhere from $300 to maybe $500 to $600 US for each individual.
Right.
So imagine if you're traveling with your family of 4, and you got to take, everybody has to retake the test, because some of the countries, especially Ghana, you have to take another test once you get in the airport. They administer another test, and those tests are, at least what we got charged was $300 US a piece. So flying out now it's not cheap. There's things that you have to do, and if you don't do it, you will not be allowed to enter into the country. So we're just warning you that all of this goes all the way back to ASAP tickets, dealing with some of these cutthroat people. Now, we're not tarnishing the whole company, but what we are saying is that most of these people are for themselves, and they're for the money. And so we're just trying to make sure we caution you to use your better judgment when you are dealing with these different people. You don't have to go with the first airline company. You can search around for an international flight. If you plan early ahead of the game, you'll be better off anyway.
We plan early, but so you can see things happen even when you plan early. Well, we booked our flights 3 months in advance,
right.
And we booked them within 3 months in advance, because we were also trying to find the best deal. But
when we booked in advance with Fairboom, we never
it was on spot, and then the prices were extremely inexpensive when we booked with Fairboom.
Right.
So Fairboom representatives are watching. We love you. So we got on we went to Houston, then we went to Chicago, and then we flew out to Brussels, and then we landed at Brussels Airport. That in which, where we landed at, there's no place in that particular terminal to get anything to eat. I mean, there's snacks in the vending machine, but that's it. However, we're walking down this long hallway, right? And we come up on these huge lines. There's 2 lines. There's one that's wrapped all the way around the excavator.
Maybe 400 or 500 people.
Is it excavator? Yeah, it's the
not excavator.
Not excavator.
Escalator.
Escalator. Well, it didn't have the steps like the escalator has. But anyway, so there's lines full of people. We're just being told to get in one of the lines. Well, we're being told to get in a particular line if we're going to Accra, and then another line if we're going to I forgot what the other flight was going to. But we got in the line that was going to Accra, and we had to be at least 200 behind.
Yes.
And we're kind of panicking because our flight is going to leave. It's to leave at 6, even though we got there at 2. We still wanted enough time to be able to board. So halfway down the line, one of the airport representatives came up, and I asked him, I said, hey, which line are we supposed to be in for Accra? And he said, well, I was just told either line. So we hurry up and we jump in the lesser of the lines. And at this particular airport, it's like almost I don't care about Africans. I don't care about African Americans. We're gonna pile them all up in these lines, and we're gonna work on them as they come. We don't care about them missing their flight. We're just gonna make sure we, get them through, but it doesn't matter what time we get them through. That's just how long these lines were. It was a nonchalant whole type of thing.
I want to say it's a lack of help for that to have that many, might as well say generalized, that many Africans, whether you are African American, whether you're African Ghanaian, whether you're African Togoan, whatever, however you pronounce that. But This place does not have accommodations. They have the restrooms, of course, but if you have little children and you are traveling, there's like one particular restaurant at the end of the corridor where the gate is. You have to walk quite a ways.
Go back a little bit. While we're still in this particular terminal, there's only 4, right? There was only 4 there's stewardess that help us at the check-in. When we had to send in the line and we made it up to them. There were only 4 to help both lines. So even though our line moved faster, it's very poor because it seems like you will have more people and then there's nowhere to sit. You have to stand in these lines until you get to where you're going. Then they tell you to go down to terminal, is it T or K? Then you have to take then you have to take the escalator down, and then you have to sit in this waiting area. There's no type of entertainment. Again, there's no vending machines down there. There's no food, no nothing. So you wait on the bus to come get you and take you all the way over to T terminal. And then once you get there, it looks more like an airport. However, there's only one restaurant in that particular area. The rest, like as he was beginning to say, it's blocked off. It says stop, you can't come through. And it looks like that's where the most appealing food and items are.
Yeah, and past that particular area that is blocked off, it is mostly the European flights. So I just want to say this, that as a people, we have to get it together. We have to own everything from the planes, from the airports. We have to own it all, and we have to make it better for our people. And this message should go to everybody all over the diaspora. We have to come together because nobody's gonna love us like we love ourselves.
Correct.
And so it was really not a great experience. It's something that you could do. You know, you're gonna have to do it if you land in Brussels.
Correct.
So hopefully, if you can get a flight out of just a one-way direct flight out of Atlanta, they do offer those flights out of Atlanta, DC,
out of New
Fort
York.
Lauderdale, New York. So the best thing, if you're booking directly through United or Delta or KLM, all of those are great airlines that you can go with. Make sure you try to, if you're going to spend a little bit more money, but you're going to be in the air and you're going to be able to enjoy the amenities because they are in the business of making money. You know, Brussels, I don't even know how they staying afloat. They look like a ghost town. You know,
the airport.
Now
they feed you on the flight. They feed you on the flight. Just to kind of piggyback off of what he said.
The flight was excellent.
Let's do better. We can't do this one by one. We have to come together as a community, right, of people, and we have to do this. Even if you don't desire for Africa to be your home, it's something to make a way for others. We saw at the year return, which we weren't able to make it because of the COVID, but we saw, wasn't it the COVID? Year return was last year?
Year return was 2019.
Okay, I'm sorry. We weren't able to make it because we had came earlier that year to Ghana. So we weren't able to make it to the year return, but we saw a lot of celebrities that came over. Of course, they didn't have to experience none of the airport issues that we've had to experience, but just to get the word out, if you can help, you know, your people to have an easier transition over to the continent, that would be awesome. I mean, I don't think anyone that has ever visited the continent has a problem with the content. I mean,
I want to say this to piggyback on what she's saying. I noticed that I don't even think any Africans from the continent, whether they was Ghanaians, wherever they were from, nobody complained about how horrible the experience was while we were there in Brussels. Yeah, it was one African guy. I forget where he's from. Maybe he was from Ghana. But we did see another African American, and we met him, and we were saying the same thing. As a people, I don't know why Africans have a high tolerance. When I say Africans, I'm talking about from the continent, that were born and raised on the continent, versus Africans that are in the diaspora. We're in the diaspora. We are used to fighting. We are used to trying to overcome and make solutions to problems. I see that, and I'm not talking about all Ghanaians. I'm not talking about all continental Africans that are from the continent. I'm just talking about, as a majority, you have to fight. You have to voice your opinion. You have to overcome evil. You have to overcome adversity. Don't allow people to just do you that way, because they just really don't care about us, and we got to get to the point where we care about us. Doesn't matter if they don't care, but we have to care, and we have to cry out against injustice. No matter where it's at, you have to cry out against injustice.
Now, with the one Ghanaian that he said that spoke about the issue that was there, he was told by another Ghanaian that it was because of the COVID. We've been to Ghana. This is we started out in 2018. So when he said that it was because of the COVID, we were automatically like, no, this is always like this.
Always.
Whenever you fly into Brussels, it is always like this. You have to wait in a line until you can get checked in. At least that's always been our experience.
Always our experience.
When we were coming over, my husband said, well, here we go to the long line. Before we even got to the line, I had actually forgot that there was going to be a long line. I'm like, well, people are all spaced out. This and all that. When we got there, we was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is a long line. So just to fast forward a little bit, we waited. We went and we ate at the only sandwich shop that was available to us in Brussels once we got over to our terminal, because like I stated, the other area was blocked off as if they didn't want us over there. And I'm just being blunt. I'm just being real. That's what it looked like. So we were kind of all in one.
Almost made you feel like you was in some type of concentration camp. How they had some of the terminal blocked off, and the terminal that they had blocked off, the area where we were the dominant people. We were the only people there. At least 300 to 400 of us was there, and that particular T65 was the name of the terminal. And you couldn't go past maybe 4 terminals. There was a gated area. There was signs saying "Do not enter." And I was thinking that, wow, where do you see stuff like this in Western movies? Like the apocalyptic times and stuff like that. That's what it made me think about. And guess what? There were no continental Africans saying anything but one. And I think he said something because he was living in the West. So it's not about trying to be humble, because I know a lot of religious Ghanaians and everybody else would say, oh, it's trying to be humble, and you Americans, you always want to, put up a force. Look, if we don't fight for each other, nobody else gonna come. Don't look for no rescue to come get you, to come save you. Right?
And I think that's why we are labeled as people of violence, because we can voice our opinion and we'll be looked at as though we're out of order. But to be treated, like a human being, we have to voice our opinion. And in doing so, we feel that we have to let our Ghanaian sisters and brothers know, hey, you are able to speak up, speak out. You don't like it. It doesn't feel good. You don't have to deal with it. Tell them, I don't like this. This is not right. It does. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. But on to another matter. So we loaded onto Brussels. It is a 6 hours flight from Brussels to Accra, Ghana.
I said earlier in the video it was 300 pieces.
Right, it was just 150
so
a piece. So after we leave, we go to the next counter that wherein the young lady, she scans our information. She puts a sticker on the back of our passport book. That sticker is used when we headed to the COVID-19 testing site, which we had to go on 2 separate cubicles, and the test was administered. Now, I wasn't ready only because it feels like the Q-tip goes all the way up here, which is fine, but it burns just a little bit. It's not how some people, said that it would be, and it may be different because whoever administers may be different on how
every person's nasal cavity passage is different too. Right. With me, when it touches mine, no matter, even when I administer,
he sneezes.
Yeah,
own
it
at
makes me
CVS.
start sneezing, and my nose runs a lot because I don't know. It's just the way my makeup is. But go ahead.
Right. So after then, you have to, once we go to baggage claim and we pick up our bags, we have to go to this little area wherein you can receive your test results, or you can look it up on your computer. If your test results are
On
not
your phone.
ready, right, on your phone, I'm sorry. If your test results are not ready, they'll tell you to go have a seat and they'll call you up when they're ready, which is what happened to us. And the young lady called us up when we were ready, and we were negative, of course, because that's how we got in. But I do want to say this: in the States, if you don't particularly want a person to administer the test for you, CVS drive-through will allow you to do the test yourself. They give you the instructions, they'll send you video to your phone, and you can do it yourself. And
While they are watching you,
right,
while you're in your own car.
and it's smooth sailing, and you'll get the
Yes.
test results through email, through text,
The
however you
best way
prefer
to
it.
go.
Correct. But yeah, so every time we get to Ghana, it's always smooth. Once we get off the flight, we have our passports ready, we have our little green card ready. Basically, the green card tells them where we're going to be staying, the phone number, contact information, whatever. And yeah, so we had it. It was pretty smooth. It wasn't packed like it is normally. Even though it is sometimes packed, we're still able to move through smoothly.
We also want to advise for those that are kind of like virgins to traveling, international virgins that are traveling to Ghana. Not every African country is the same. So you're not just going to a country, you're going to a continent, meaning
Right.
that Ghana, meaning that Africa is over 54, 55, depending on how they work out that one particular country. 55 countries inside of one continent. So just know that it is many countries inside of one continent. But I would advise you when your feet hit the ground to make sure you have a liaison, somebody you can go to that is honest. You have to find people that are honest. You have scammers no matter where you go in the world, even in the U.S. So you want to make sure that you have some people on the ground. We would leave our WhatsApp and some of our contact information down in the description box so you can be able to use our contacts, guys that we trust. We've been to their home, we met their families, we travel around with them.
And
as
that was
we
the
travel.
first time we came to Ghana.
And we just
kept that relationship.
Yeah, so we talk to them when we're in the States at least maybe 10, 15 times a week.
Yeah.
It's ongoing, we're just
we're like
talking to them.
family.
So, so it's family, and so it's even if you dealt with them and you was not sure about something, you can also contact us through email or whatever. We don't want to just give out some of our information like that. We just want the people that are serious about traveling, want to come to Ghana. You don't know where to start at. You don't know who to talk to. You can't trust everybody that you meet on Facebook. You can't trust everybody that you meet on WhatsApp. I'm telling you that now. So if you are a virgin person that have never been to Ghana, you need to contact us. The information will be left in the box. Contact us, and we will put you on to some honest people, some people that will help you.
Yeah. Okay, so we walk out of the airport, and of course, there's all these people. Aquaba. So we love it here. We're gonna end our video because, like I said, we have tons of content. But log on to our next video. We have more stuff to share, and that's gonna be traveling Accra. See you soon. Akabulan First of Generations are now offering Akabulan tours as of 2022. Our upcoming tour events are 2023, April 5th through April 19th of 2023. Visit our website at akabulantours.wixsite.com/akabulantours.com or send us an email at akabulantours@outlook.com.